Hello guys and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be making my predictions for game week 25 of the 25-26 Premier League season. But before we begin, let's see how I did last week. I got one outcome and scoreline correct. I got Brighton and Everton drawing 1-1 correct, plus 3 more outcomes correct, so that's 6 points, taking my season total up to 144. And this is how the table looks after 24 matches, and without further ado, let's predict this weekend, shall we? And we're going to start with a huge match tonight. It's Leeds United against Nottingham Forest. And, well, Leeds, what can we say, they just come off the back of a 4-0 beating from Arsenal. And Nottingham Forest are actually finding a bit of a run of form. I think they're unbeaten in the last 4 matches or so. Just coming off the back of a 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace, albeit very poor form Palace. This game is at Ellen Road, and I do like Leeds at home. I think they're very good, but I can't back against Forest either, not with the form. So I'm going to send the fence with a 1-1 draw on this one. I think, seeing as both sides are outside the bottom 3, I do think a point wouldn't be the end of the world for them. They can push on a bit later in the season and survive. I do think maybe both these will survive, but I'm going for a 1-1 draw. Next up, we've got Manchester United against Tottenham Hotspur in another big game. Since Michael Carrick has come in, Manchester United have actually been the form team in the Premier League. And Spurs, they're off the back of a 2-2 draw, comeback draw against Manchester City last game week. Of course, Dominic Solanke scoring the scorpion kick. What a goal that was. But the game is at Old Trafford. I do tend to like... The funny thing is, I think Spurs are better on the road than they are at home this season. But with the game being at Old Trafford and Man United's run of form, can't see it ending. But I can see goals. I'm going Manchester United to win 3-2. I think there's going to be goals in this one, but I just think Man United have enough to snatch it. Maybe another last-minute goal from maybe Sesko again, and it's 3-2 to the Red Devils. Next up, we've got Fulham against Everton, and this is a battle of two sides that are pushing for maybe the Europa Conference League this season. Everton have just brought in Tyrick George from Chelsea's bench, so that could be... I'm confident on that being a good signing, and as I said last week, Fulham have brought in Oscar Bob from Manchester City. I think that could be a very good signing for them, for the Cottagers. It's tricky though, isn't it? Fulham they did lose 3-2 to Manchester United last minute last week, but they're still in pretty good form. Everton are in pretty good form themselves. They're up to 10th in the table, but they are, I do half fancy a draw on this one, but I just look at it being at Craven Cottage, and I think Fulham just have that bit more power. I'm going Fulham to win 2-1, but I think it's going to be close. But I'm backing the Cottagers for a 2-1 narrow 3 points. Next up, we've got a huge relegation 6-pointer. It's Burnley against West Ham United. And what can we say about these two sides? Burnley actually, I think, undefeated in the last 5, surprisingly, although 4 of them are draws. West Ham are flying right now, but it is a Turf Moor, and I do tend to prefer Burnley at home. But having said that, I can't back for Burnley in this one, especially given West Ham they did get a narrow 3-2 loss to Chelsea last week. They went 2-0 up and then lost it 3-2. Big scrap in that game at the end, but we've got to back West Ham. I'm sorry to all the Burnley fans, but I'm backing West Ham for a 2-1 win. I think West Ham just have the quality. Jared Bowen, I think Somerville will score, that's for sure. I think West Ham will get 3 points over the line narrowly. 2-1 to the Hammers. Next up, we've got Arsenal against Sunderland. It's at the Emirates. What can we say? Arsenal absolutely hammered. They battered Leeds 4-0 last week. Goals from Zubamendi, Victor Gyökeres, Gabriel Jesus, and the unfortunate own goal from the Leeds United goalkeeper. And Sunderland, I do fancy Sunderland to maybe snatch a lower European place this season, but I think that will be based on their home form, because their away form isn't great at the minute. Lots of draws, but against Arsenal at the Emirates, I can't see them getting anything. I'll give them a goal. I think Arsenal, after that 4-0 beating of Leeds, they're gonna be buzzing, and with Man City playing Liverpool this weekend, I think that this could be a great chance for Arsenal to extend their gap further. It's already 6 points, but extend the gap even further at the top of the table. I'm going to back the Gunners for a 3-1 win here. I think Arsenal just have too much quality at home at the minute. So I'm backing the Gunners for a hugely important 3 points. Next up, we've got Wolves against Chelsea. And, well, what can we say? The year started very well for Wolves. I think they were unbeaten in like 4 or 5 matches at the start of 2026. And then in recent times, their goals have dried up and their form has tailed off now. And they're against the Chelsea side, who, under Lim Senior, I believe, are unbeaten. And I think it's only Chelsea and Manchester United who are unbeaten in a certain amount of games in a row this season, at the minute. I think this game might be a step too far for Wolves. I don't know what. Yeah, and they have just sold Jürgen Strand Larsen to Crystal Palace, a relegation rival maybe. I do think this is just a step too far for Wolves. I do think Chelsea will get it, but I don't really know how to read Chelsea this season either. They can approach this game in 2 ways. They can either come in firing and score maybe 3, 4, 5-0, or they'll keep it compact. And at Molineux, I think Wolves do tend to keep teams compact. They don't get battered very often. I'm going to go Chelsea to win 2-1. I think Chelsea will ultimately get the 3 points, but I think Wolves are going to make it tricky for them. I was tempted by maybe a 2-0, but I do think Chelsea will win 2-1. I don't know where Wolves will get a goal from, but they might get one from somewhere. Maybe Matheus Mane. He's been on pretty good form for them recently. But 2-1 to Chelsea is where I'm going. Next up, we've got Bournemouth against Aston Villa. And this is an interesting one. Villa lost last week at home. They lost 1-0 to Brentford at home, which I don't think Villa ever really lose at home anymore. And they're against the Bournemouth side, who, I mean, in recent memory, they've beaten Liverpool 3-2 at home, and last week they're off the back of the 2-0 drumming of Wolves. Well, I wouldn't call it drumming, actually. Wolves had a goal disallowed. It was a Mane goal. But with this game being at the Vitality, and Bournemouth being back at home, they're in pretty good form at the minute. I think it might actually be back-to-back defeats for Villa here, which would very much harm any remaining title hopes they have. I'm going Bournemouth to win 2-1. I I think maybe Ryan, the new signing, may well pop up with a goal or an assist. I just think that, and maybe Evan Nielsen, I think Bournemouth just have that quality. I don't know if Ollie Watkins is still injured for Villa and John McGinn is out for a few weeks with a knee surgery, so I'm backing the Cherries for a 2-1 win and a important 3 points. Next up, we've got Newcastle United against Brentford, and well, this is a tricky one. Newcastle's form hasn't been great, but I do tend to, trust them more at home this season than I do on the road. Brentford are a side that don't do draws very often. They either win or lose. Newcastle did beat PSV 3-0 in the Champions League a couple weeks ago. I've got to back Newcastle. I just can't back against them at the minute. Brentford could get a goal, but I do feel like the goals have kind of dried up as well. I'm going to back the Magpies for a 2-0 win here. I think Newcastle have enough quality to win and keep a clean sheet. 2-0 to Newcastle and the 3 points to push even further up towards Europe. And if they do batter Brentford, I think they go above them in the table and up into 7th, but 2-0 to the Magpies. Next up, we've got Brighton against Crystal Palace, the M23 derby. The fans hate it when you call it that for some reason. Don't really know why it's a derby, to be honest. I guess it's connected to the motorway, but talking about the football side of things, Brighton have been on a pretty poor run of form recently. Few draws here and there. But they are playing a Palace side whose form has been dreadful. I think they're winless in the last 11 or 12 matches. A couple draws in there. The thing is, this game, historically, it's been a draw a lot. Of course, Palace, I think for the minute they've still got Jean-Philippe Mateta. I think he's staying for the time being. Of course, they've just brought in Jurgen Strand Larsen to play in his position. So I think Palace are still in a messy position. But against a Brighton side who I don't think are on great form either, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I'm going to sit on the fence. I can't separate these two. If I had to pick a winner, I would pick Brighton being the home side and given Palace is on an even worse run of form. But I do think that Brighton and Palace, maybe Brighton go 1-0 up in the first half and Palace find a last-minute equaliser. But 1-1 is where I'm going, point apiece. And then finally, we've got Game of the Week. It's Liverpool against Manchester City. And, oh boy, this game could have huge permutations on the title race here because Liverpool are on a better run of form than Man City at the minute. They hammered Newcastle 4-1 last week. Man City could only draw 2-2 with Tottenham. Watched both those games, I think. No, I didn't watch the Liverpool game. I watched the Man City-Tottenham game, and Man City didn't look overly convincing, especially in the second half. And it is at Anfield. Liverpool have the home advantage, and Man City don't have a great record away at Anfield. This may be crazy, but Liverpool are in better form. I'm going for Liverpool to put the final nail in the coffin in Man City's title chances, and Liverpool win it 2-1. I think they're just on a much better run of form right now. I think Hugo Ekitike will score one, maybe Florian Wirtz, who's also in form, gets the other. And for Man City, Tijani Reinders popped into my head, but more than likely Antoine Semenyo, but 2-1 to Liverpool is where I'm going on the final game. And a huge 3 points drop for Man City in the title race. And there you have it, guys, all 10 Premier League matches for this weekend predicted. Let me know your predictions in the comments down below. And yep, I'll be back for championship predictions later today. And I'll see you all in the next one.